You know, there is an irony to the fact that I am painting a thunderbolt while thunderbolts are literally dancing around the skies. I am observant. I have my moments. I'm painting in the rain, just painting in the rain. What a glorious T-bolt, but don't let the T-bolts hit me again. Oh, I promised I wouldn't sing anymore. To prevent any transfer, I'm using plastic to keep my hands from putting any transfer paint onto the model. Hey guys, I was just pouring a little isopropyl alcohol on a little boo-boo I got on my fingertip, and I'll show you a picture. It's a caution, hint of blood here. This is new. We've all nicked ourselves with X-Acto knives from time to time, but I managed to do that with the sprue cutters. I was just clipping a piece and just got a little too close. It nipped right through me. So those little things are still sharp. Owie. Nice thing about using acrylic paints, of course, plenty of isopropyl alcohol to dump on it right away. Prevent infection. So, yeah, it's been just nasty weather here all day. Kind of cool and wet. But I did manage to get some work done, but it's affected the painting because, you know, believe it or not, I don't have climate control except for the air conditioner. And when it gets all wet and nasty and dank like that, everything takes longer to dry and harden, or at least it seems like it does. But I managed to get some work done, some advance made on, got the wings on the Golden Knights plane and the Twin Otter. I looked up and realized that those little, I think it's 1 to 200 scale Sanwa kits at Messerschmitt and the Hurricane that the Sanwa guy had sent me were still sitting right there on my top shelf. I'd put them out to work on them and overlooked them. So I got cracking on those, and even while they're in the clamps drying, they look like they're dog fighting. Then I got a box today from Mr. Westcott up in Canada, and it was a bunch of magazines, vintage 69 to 1977 vintage magazines. Airplane Ideas, there's a modeling magazine, and there's Air Classics and Scale Aircraft. So I'm looking forward to going through these. And this one just happens to have two of my favorite box arts in the world on it, which are both Jack Linwood 1/32 scale Revell artworks. And you guys, I've told you more times than you want to hear that Spitfire Mark I is still my favorite box art of all time. And the note that Mr. Westcott sent me, he also sent me a model that he'd already built as a kid, and it's the rare Aurora CF105. Those things are hard to find. Now, this is already built, and some parts have been taken off for shipping. It took me 5 minutes to glue them back on. Of course, being the beautiful Canadian CF105 Aero, one of the probably 10 most beautiful airplanes ever made. Heck, I think it'd make the top 5 list. It's, of course, wheels up, and I'll either put it on a stand or hang it from the ceiling, but I'm going to touch it up a little bit, but I'm not going to like strip it and redo it or anything, because the fact that he built that back in the 60s or 70s when he was a kid is half the charm. I'm inclined not to touch it up at all, but I think I'm just going to probably just put some black paint on the radome just because some paint's missing on it, and that's probably going to be it. And then I'll hang it up. It's kind of a little bit of a time capsule. And I know I didn't build it. And of course, I'll make sure to point that out to anybody asks, because remember what I always say, there's no cheating in building models except taking credit for something you didn't build. But he sent a note, and I thought you guys might appreciate this and probably can relate to it. Hi Max, just a quick comment. I was much amused when you were describing how you hung the models from the ceiling of the Tarbus. When I was a kid, my bedroom ceiling had pressboard tiles, and I hung planes with string and thumbtacks. Didn't we all? As you mentioned, it led to a number of crash landings. The enclosed suffered such a landing and was rehung wheels up. By the way, he did include the wheels, just so we know. But I just think it looks pretty with the wheels up. Anyway, back to the note. Yeah, years later, all were taken down. Most were thrown out. Somebody get that dagger out of my back. No, we all did it. So did I. Most were thrown out, but a few were put in a box and stuck in the attic. When my folks passed, I managed to save the box and get back into the hobby. Of the saved ones, mostly monogram kits, I have stripped them and repainted them. Side note, I did that with the 2 or 3 survivors that I have, which ironically were ones that my brother had built, my younger brother. I intended to do that with this plane, but watching your comments on Aurora, I knew you were the guy to do it. Well, darn, I guess I will have to restrip it and repaint it then. It's pretty straightforward. I bet you I can find some aftermarket decal. Back to the note. What is interesting to me is how Aurora came to do the Aero and the CF100, which I also have. As a Canadian kid, I was always wanting to do Canadian versions of many kits, but at that time, except for the 2 Aurora kits, none existed. Now look at that Twin Otter kit you have, which of course I'm putting in U.S. Army Golden Knights markings. Oh, the horror. How did Aurora come to make those kits? If you ever find out, let me know. Happy restoration. Okay, you know what? Then I am going to restore it at some point, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it just as it is for a while. And I'll put it in line for restoration, but I'm happy to, I'm going to look for some aftermarket kits for 1/72nd scale CF105 Aero decals, and I'm sure they're out there. Now, I did already, because 2 of the tiny little gear doors are missing, so I did already putty those and smooth them. Aurora, as I understand it, a lot of times it was simply if Dan Giamarina or Abe Shikes thought something looked cool, that they would... hey, let's make that. And sometimes they were made off a little more than pictures they could find in magazines. And I'm sure once they saw that beauty, they thought a model had to be made. In fact, it seems like there might have been some little flap over that. I forget what it was. Something about they couldn't be imported to Canada or something. I forget. It seemed, I'm going to have to look into that if I get a chance. But in 1997, Dan Aykroyd was in a movie called The Aero, about the development of the Aero. And all the models, for the most part, not all of it, but most of the models you see, because you're going to see them interspersed throughout, like on desktops and people playing with them, were the Aurora kits. They might have been remolds or something, because I'm not sure how many of those kits were around in 97, but or maybe they just kept recycling the same 1 or 2 over and over again. But the Aurora kit, as I understand it, did get some quite a bit of screen time. Really good movie. I went and watched it. It's out on YouTube. And Dan Aykroyd, who is a Canadian, was very anxious to play the role. He wanted to do the movie, and I think he was one of the driving forces behind getting it made. And I'm sure most of you guys know the CF105 Aero was probably easily in the top 5, but possibly, arguably, the greatest airplane that was never put into serial production. Largely through, and they bring this up in the movie, a lot of pressure from the U.S. We didn't. I think I said this before. I think the Aero met its fate the minute the U.S. Air Force showed an interest in it. As soon as the American Air Force was thinking about buying a Canadian airplane, the American military-industrial complex had a collective apoplexy. And they dialed up every senator they had on payroll to kill that. Even Eisenhower was involved. Of course, Eisenhower always had a fear of the military-industrial complex. But, I mean, we won the Cold War, so, hey, we survived. But we hired a lot of their engineers when the program was finally shut down. That was under their Prime Minister Diefenbaker, who apparently, according to many Canadians I've talked with, I mean, historically speaking, he's not very many people's favorite. But, of course, that's just people I've talked to. But he killed the Aero, and a lot of skullduggery. In fact, right now, it's been making the aviation press that they shot a lot of test models of rockets to test, because they didn't have wind tunnels that would go fast enough, I guess. So they were shooting miniature CF-105s with rockets to get them up to super high speed and everything, see how they performed. And they shot quite a few of them. They just shot them out in the lake. They never recovered them. They just needed the test data off of them. Well, recently a couple of them have been recovered. There are people out there looking for them. And they're now, it's funny, when they were at the time, they were just models that were used in testing. But now that a bunch of years have passed, they're artifacts. And so my camera's giving me some kind of warning, but I couldn't read it. So I probably better hurry up and finish this off. Anyway, got a little bit of work done on the Thunderbolt. I'm still not super thrilled about those seams, but I'm just going to go with what I've got. I'm starting to spend a little too much time on it. I did a little research, and yeah, even the expert model builders talk about that turtle deck's really hard to seal up. I've puttied it and sanded it about 4 times now, and it's looking better, but it's still visible. But I picked a paint scheme from the... Well, welcome back, guys. So sorry about that. I got cut off because the battery died. And so all I was saying was that the Thunderbolt is going to have a paint scheme inspired by the, I believe it's a 365th Fighter Squadron. At one point when they had the D models, they had an olive drab top that went pretty much nose to tail with aluminum beneath that, and the cutoff was right about where that turtleneck line's at, so it should sort of help camouflage that seam line. And that's pretty much it for tonight. My Lord and High Master here is going to let me go here in just a minute, and I will get this uploaded. Tomorrow morning I have the interview with 3-time shuttle astronaut Mike Mullane, so I'm looking forward to that. So that's what we have for now, guys. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and hope you guys have a great evening. And found this waiting on me. Wow. So, I guess it's time for an unboxing, and this is from Mr. Hamilton, who sent me that box before that, all those great kits, and most of the Japanese kits, the small scale ones, and that kit of HMS Amazon. So big thank you to Mr. Hamilton, and let's see what we got. Too much commotion for the cat. Dear Max, I want to wish you and your family a wonderful Christmas and a happy upcoming New Year. I watched your Exodus video with great anticipation. I loved it very much. You did a fine job. Your instinct about the details you could have done differently was correct. What's important is that you have fun and you show it to us. That's the recipe for success. Here are some very special kits for me. I hope you like them. And he's got a list here, but let's go ahead and bring them out as we introduce them. Wow, we're on the opposite end of the spectrum. These are big ones. All with Christmas cards. I wonder if I should stick these under the tree. No, I've already got to look at what they are. Oh wow, a 1/32nd scale Hasagawa F86F-40 Saber. And it says, all transparent parts. Whoa. Holy smokes. It's got the separate entirely separate package with the laser cut metal etch, photo etch instrument panel, landing gears. Dear goodness, that is something. Wasn't kidding about clear parts. But that brings up the question, do you want to paint it, or do you want to make it clear, or half and half? Oh, so much potential. We have to buy a cabinet just for that. Holy smoke. Oh, wow. Thank you. Impressive. Okay, the Hasagawa F86F 4132nd all transparent, 1984. I think you'll have a lot of fun with this kit. It's really all transparent except for the tires. There are so many possibilities about what you can do. I'm interested in your selection of glue type. Perhaps you could ask everyone what they would use. That is a good question. Maybe white glue, because it's less likely to fog the transparent parts. That's one consideration. Or soak all the transparent parts in like something like Future Floor Wax, and then use CA glue or regular glue. That should prevent any fogging. Maybe paint one half and leave the other half transparent, or make it like a Phantom Mustang. It's so much, like you said, so much potential. as Mr. Hamill was extremely organized. They're all numbered. So number 2, a Nito T1A 175 scale, cool jet. There it is, and if I'm not mistaken, that is a domestic Japanese-made aircraft. That was sort of a Japanese F-86, and of course they made a 2-seater. America also made a couple of 2-seater F-86s, but they didn't take. Number 3, the Tamiya Raiden 172nd scale, the J2 M3 Jack. There we go, the Raiden. Very competent fighter, nothing you wanted to tangle with. You certainly didn't take it lightly. Oh, wait a minute, there's 2 pages here. Number 6, I'll hold on to that for last. Oh gosh, that's huge! Oh my goodness, save the big one for last. Okay. 4. Nichimo Mitsubishi A5 M4 172nd. So this is the Claude, and you guys may remember I built one of these recently, and it might have been Mr. Hamill that gave it to me, but you know, I can always do better the second time around. The first one came out okay, but well, now it's going to have a squadron mate. That's beautiful. That's great. I love this. Great little kit. And number 5, Aoshima A7 M2 in 1/72nd scale. And that's the torpedo plane. Aoshima, Nishimo, Tamiya, and Nito. All the big hitters. And of course, Hasagawa. And this last one, oh, you guys are going to love this. Wingnut Wings, 1/32nd scale, Felixstowe F2A, late. Don't worry, I got it from Squadron on sale about 5 years ago, so it was cheap. I really like the paint scheme on the box art. Heard that the stretchable rigging was a good option. That would be the easy line. I'll have to order some more of that. And that would work on this kit. I hope these keep you busy for a while. Oh, they will. Enjoy and take your time. Merry Christmas, your friend, Doug. Wingnut Wings, 1/32nd scale Felixstowe. Oh my gosh. I have never had, this may be the first time I've ever personally seen a Wingnut Wings kit. And of course we've all heard fantastic things about them, so I'm very interested. Well, on first blush, these parts are fantastic. Wow. I keep hearing Wayne and Garth, I am not worthy, we are not worthy. Oh my gosh, I am flabbergasted. Doug, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, all of this so much. For once, I'm at a loss for words. So, guys, I want to thank Doug for these magnificent kits. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Tomorrow morning, I'm scheduled to have the interview with astronaut Mike Mullane. Looking forward to that. And these puppies are going to have to go on the don't touch them until you've got a plan put together and you know what you want to do with them and kit, and I'm going to have to find a place to put them, so I may have to go furniture shopping. Once again, Doug, thank you very much. Guys, everybody, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon. Model on.